So, programming, subliminal programming, programming through, I guess those are all subliminal ways. Anyway, programming, not just like television programming, but actual like programming of the person, of you, of me. How is it done? How is it? Is it actual? Is it an actual thing? Is it real? Because there's a lot of speculation out there about how the rich, the top 1%, want to just control us, and so they need to program us with through different measures, through different means, to just get us to do what they want us to do. And maybe one of those things, there's even a, I think there's a video, I think there's a video by Moon. I'm not completely sure. I'm probably not gonna look it up, but I know I've seen a video out there about how the person who invented schools wanted they did it because they wanted people to they needed people that were smart enough to work their factories, but not smart enough to think on their own. So, programming. But can the wealthy, can the top 1% program you to be poor? Let's find out. That's what we're gonna talk about today. That's what we're gonna watch today. So let's get into it. What is good, everybody? My Paper Moon fam. It's your boy, PaperSin, aka the Hokage of the village. Hidden in that loud, you feel me? And like I said, bro, we got a reaction video for you today. This one is called How They Programmed You to Be Poor. Let's get into it. It's by the YouTube channel Jordan Welch. Let's dive right into it. As always, link to the channel and link to the video will both be in the description below, so be sure to check them out after this video, of course. How do I program you to watch my videos longer? Anyway, let's get into it. Let's go.
Since the day you were born, you've been indoctrinated into a rigged system literally designed to keep you poor. This system that you're up against was never built for people like you and me to win, and the people in control designed it that way to use you to their advantage to make themselves richer and more powerful. And all this has been happening right in front of your eyes for years, and you didn't even notice it. Thankfully, there's a way to break free, but first, you need to understand who's behind all this and how you got here in the first place. It all started in the first 7 years of your life.
First 7 years?
In your first 7 years of childhood, your brain is in a lower state of frequency called theta.
I was gonna say your brain is still developing, but okay, your brain is in a lower state of frequency called theta. Is what these.
Theta. It's the same state of mind that allows kids to have imagination. It's the mind state you're in when you're dreaming in deep sleep, and it is your subconscious state of mind that runs 95% of your life today. As a young child, your brain is almost permanently tuned to this state, which is why you hear people say their consciousness is turned on at a certain point as a kid, because prior to that, you're completely in the theta, completely in the subconscious. And it's in this state of mind that your thoughts are very malleable and extremely vulnerable to programming, which is why whatever you've been exposed to in the first 7 years of your life heavily dictates the person you are today. As Aristotle said, give me a child until he was 7 and I will show you the man. Now, think about all the things that can negatively program a young brain, like seeing your parents struggle or fight about money, the big bad evil rich guy in your favorite cartoon, or asking your mom for McDonald's and she say, we got McDonald's at home because...
Wait, the big bad evil rich guy in their favorite cartoon. So that's like, it's like painting the picture that being rich is a bad thing, is an evil thing. Being rich will make you a bad person, and you don't want to be a bad person because you always get in schools and everything else. You always get reprimanded for being quote unquote bad. And now subconsciously you're thinking, well, if I'm rich, I'm bad. But that's not the case, because money is a tool. Money is a tool. Depends on how you use it. Just like a weapon or a firearm. If somebody breaks into your house with the intentions to hurt you and whoever else lives in there, but you shoot them, then that's good. You saved your family members, you saved your housemates, you saved them. But if someone goes around with a gun out in public and just randomly shoots random people, then that's obviously bad. So it's just like that, just like a gun, money is a tool. So depending on how you use it depends on whether or not it's good or bad. But however, in like the depictions of a lot of cartoons, the rich person tends to be an evil person, a bad person. And like I said before, we are conditioned to not want to be bad. We're conditioned to want to be good.
Your favorite cartoon, or asking your mom for McDonald's, and she say, we got McDonald's at home because y'all couldn't afford that shit. All these slowly warp your subconscious to have fear and scarcity around money, which will carry over into the later years of your life without you even knowing it. When people say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, this is why. And this is probably why you're still broke to this day. Most of us, myself included, have been raised in environments where money was scarce, which by default makes us think it's not possible that we can go and get it ourselves. And this is where it all begins. But the real programming begins around age 5, when we go to school. The education system as we know it is only about 200 years old. Before that, formal education was expensive and mostly reserved for the elites of society. Early public schools in the United States didn't focus on academics. Instead, they taught the virtues of family, religion, and community. But as the Industrial Revolution began, the demand for workers quickly increased, and this created the need for free universal public schooling. This is Frederick the Great, and he's the mastermind behind the school system we still follow to this very day. He was the king of Prussia and the founder of the Prussian education system back in the 1800s. Frederick's primary goal was to build a productive and obedient working class by creating an educational system that would produce competent factory workers, but not free thinkers and innovators.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Competent factory workers, but not free thinkers and innovators. So that's the video that I was talking about. This obviously, it's not this video specifically that I saw that from. I'm pretty sure it was Moon's video, but he's mentioning the same thing.
His system had been developed as a means to subdue and control populations that the Prussian army had recently invaded. And the Prussian teachers were literally military workers whose job was to brainwash these people with German values and destroy their cultural identities. Sounds like fun, right? At this point in time in the 1800s, America's Industrial Revolution was booming, with companies like US Steel, Ford Motors, and GM growing at breakneck speed, making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It created a demand for more workers than ever before, and our current education system wasn't producing them fast enough, so we needed to make a change. This inspired Horace Mann, who's the father of US education, to develop the free public school model we use today. And his inspiration? The Prussian education system. In 1843, he traveled to Germany to study this system and decided it'd be the perfect fit for the US. What he liked about their system was that it follows a standardized approach in which everyone is expected to acquire exactly the same basic level of skills in exactly the same way at exactly the same time, which would create generations of obedient workers for the big factories.
That's scary, yo. That's scary. It kind of makes you want to look back at what you learned during school, because a lot of what people learn during school also they mention that it translates to the prison system. You hear a bell, you know you're supposed to get up and go to your next event, whether it's a class or lunch. You hear a bell in prison, you get up and go to the next event, whether it's outside playtime or lunch.
Funny enough, the school itself is designed like a factory. And that's not my words. They literally described it themselves as a factory in which the raw materials, the children, are to be shaped and fashioned into products to meet the various demands of life.
Yo, they looked at other people just as simple objects, as raw materials. They looked at you and me as just raw materials that are to be shaped and fashioned into products to meet various demands of life.
So they got to work and started building
Marinate on that though. Marinate on that shit.
this system out, and then one of the biggest entrepreneurs at the time, John D. Rockefeller, who definitely needed more employees for his business, created the General Education Board and gave them $129 million to spend, which is over $4 billion in today's money.
God
and
damn.
This board funded the development of all the public schools in the nation. And shortly after, in 1918, this system was in full effect, and all kids in the US were required to go to school and study this curriculum by law. And guess what? It's 100 years later, and we're still following the same system to this day, with the central goal of this system being to put you through an assembly line with a curriculum that'll turn you into a productive employee and slowly diminish your free thinking and creativity day by day. They want you to be just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, but just dumb enough to not question why you're doing it and blindly accept the situation as it is. As kids, we have—
And they did well. They did well, because even when I was in school, I was like, well, I didn't think, why am I doing this? I was just like, all right, this is the next thing. I gotta do this. And school isn't meant to teach you how to think. School is meant to teach you how to remember, how to memorize shit, not how to think for yourself. School is meant to teach you how to memorize, how to do what someone else tells you to do. And now it looks like apparently like they're changing some of the curriculums, like they're changing some of the history, like small details of these things. So school is meant to teach you to simply remember how to do things. That way, when you go to a 9-to-5 job and they teach you, all right, well, this is how we do this, this is how we do this, how we do this. Your only job is to remember how to do things. How many of you actually question what you're doing at your 9-to-5 job and why you're doing it?
have a wild imagination that makes us think we could do absolutely anything in the world. But this system that we started at a very young age beats us down year by year to diminish this, all in the pursuit of the great American dream, which in my opinion is one of the biggest scams ever made.
I'm the only thing standing between the American dream
and that great American dream.
I believe there is such a thing as the American dream. It is bold men and women yearning for freedom and opportunity who leave their homelands. They believe in the American dream.
The American dream is dead.
When you think of the American dream, what do you think of? Maybe it's going to college and becoming a doctor or a lawyer so you can make $100,000 a year. So then you can buy your first home with a shiny red Corvette parked outside and penny pinch and invest your way to becoming a millionaire at the ripe young age of 65. So you can retire with a pension, travel the world, and finally live the life that you always dreamed of.
At 65, when you're too old to actually enjoy life. Okay.
I mean, this is the dream they sold you, right? Think about all the movies or shows you've seen where the main character is this noble and righteous man because he's humble and works a good corporate job and takes the safe route, playing life by the books. But the rich man is always painted as the greedy, corrupt, and evil guy that's just out to hurt the innocent people of the world to make himself more successful.
Bro, I didn't even think about The Incredibles. And The Truman Show was one of my favorite movies. Like, if you guys ever watched my outro, then you might recognize something from my outro that's in The Truman Show. Like, damn. I didn't even recognize that it was in there too.
This is the golden example of the programming that's been happening in front of you for your entire life. They've led you to believe that you need to take the safe route if you want to live a great life. Well, what if I told you that this route is rigged and not designed for you to win, and it—
Not gonna lie, this guy's eyes are low as fuck, so to me it looks like he's high AF.
never has been. In fact, this idea of the American dream was literally created to keep you poor and dependent on the people who are really in charge so they can use you to get richer and more powerful for generations to come. And the sad truth is, this concept of the American dream was originally rooted in good values. It was created in 1931 by a man named James Adams, and he described it as a dream of a land in which life should be better, richer, and fuller for every man, with opportunity for each, regardless of circumstance of birth. But over time, the media and the corporations warped this into one of the greatest marketing schemes the world has ever seen, leading the people of America to develop an incredibly warped perspective on what it truly means to be successful and live the dream. And when I was doing the research for this video, I found something really scary that proved my point.
Notice how he said over time that American dream changed. It's always over time things change, because over time people forget, and over time one thought can be overwritten with another thought. It just takes time and planning.
I do believe in the American dream. I believe there is such a thing as the American dream. Owning a home is a part of that dream.
Back in 2003, President Bush created the American Dream Down Payment Act. Yes, it was really called this. And the entire focus was to help lower income people and minorities make the down payment on their first house. And that sounds nice, right? But who do you think is really winning in this deal? The only people who are eligible for this were people who couldn't even afford to buy a house in the first place. So they come on in, help you make the down payment, and then the banks get to take advantage of them with high interest rate loans that keep them locked in for 30 years. And now, I got you. Because if you stop paying them, they're gonna come after everything you own, which means you need to keep working that job, paying your mortgage, and paying taxes so the corporations and the government can profit off of you for life. The American dream, baby. You just gotta ask yourself if they had your best intentions in mind with this. I mean, I'm sure they genuinely wanted to help people, just like all those banks that were accepting any and everyone for those infamous subprime mortgage loans back in 2007. How'd that go down? Look, in my eyes, this idea of the American dream just became a consumeristic trap that keeps you poor, turns you into a slave of the system, and builds a profit machine for the people of power. Get the nice house, the shiny car, the fresh clothes, and then you'll be happy. This is what you've been sold your entire life, and in my opinion, it's not the way to live a truly fulfilling and successful life. I've done pretty much the exact opposite in my life. I've never worked a real job. I dropped out of school. I rent where I live, and at just 25 years old, I've been able to make millions of dollars online, take care of my family in ways I always dreamed of, and travel the world doing what I love for a living. In my opinion, that is the real American dream. I was raised in a poor family, and it's very likely I came up with the exact same programming as you. So this is how I broke free, and how you can do exactly the same before it's too late.
Hey yo, I'm not gonna lie, like I fucking did the same shit. Like I was always told when I was growing up, you know, go to high school, finish high school, graduate high school, then go to college, finish college, graduate college. I was always told the same shit, but it just didn't work out for me. It led to some dark times. I'm not gonna lie, it led to some really dark time. It led to some driving up a hill where you can't see the other side of the hill, but driving up on the other side of the road, wrong time. Or bad time or dark times. So luckily I was able to, you know, start doing what I love. And I'm still here. So
95% of your life is lived through your subconscious programming. All your thoughts, decisions, and actions are predominantly based on this. Only roughly 5% of your life is in a conscious present state. And for me, growing up as a child, we didn't have a lot of money, and the only time it was discussed was in a negative light. So naturally, what perspective do you think I developed about money? To be honest, money was associated with fear, scarcity, and struggle. And I felt like it was impossible to get rich because I would watch my mom wake up every day at 7 a.m. to get us ready for school and go work 8 hours just to bring home $20,000 per year. But around the age of 13, I started to break out of this mindset by beginning to rewire my brain to look at money in a different light. Because at that time, I started seeing kids on YouTube that were my age making money from the internet. And this lit a spark in me to know that it was possible. So I started watching as many videos as I could about this. I started reading books and listening to interviews of entrepreneurs every day. And slowly but surely, I started to feel like I could actually make it. Because our subconscious brain learns through repetition. So therefore, we need to rewire our subconscious brain with the right inputs. And funny enough, you're doing this right now by watching this video. So going forward,
congrats on watching this video. especially if you made it this far, because, you know, I know a lot of you don't watch all of it. Probably why a lot of you don't, you know, my whole thing about mentioning my outro and how it's connected to the Truman Show. Probably y'all never realized it. Y'all never recognized it. It's all good. I ain't gonna be mad at you. I am gonna judge, but I ain't gonna be mad at you.
Forward, I need you to spend at least 1 hour per day reading or consuming content that makes you feel like you could actually get rich. You need to be constantly consuming inputs that actually make you feel like it's possible. One of the biggest ones for me early on was a book called Unscripted. This is without a doubt one of the best books I ever read, and it breaks down the topic that we discussed today with a level of detail that just shattered all my previous beliefs and made me genuinely think I could make it out of this rigged system and win the game. And by the time I was 19 years old, I had made my first $1 million online. I broke free. And if you want to see the exact product I sold, the store I built, and how I scaled it to millions in sales and sold the company last year, I made a case study that reveals everything I did step by step for just $1. This is a full blueprint for anyone who's looking to do the same, and it'll literally cost.
See, I was wondering if this guy was just like one of those self-help gurus that are kind of like fake or whatever, or that kind of like mess with you. But until this point, I was like, all right, he's spitting some real facts, he's spitting some good shit, and then boom. By the way, I have a course you can buy for $1. It's like, oh man, why?
Cost you less to keep you in this system and the right tools to escape. And you know, I sat with a billionaire this year and I asked him if he lost everything, how would he get it back? And he gave me some of the best advice I've ever heard. He said, the only thing they can't take away from you is what you learned. So no matter how broke you are, if you have the right knowledge and a skill that is in demand, you can always get paid. And that, my friends, is how you truly break free.
All right, cool. Everything about the video was great until like the whole, by the way, I have this this book. you should this course. You should buy it for just $1. Everything was great until that point, and I was like, oh shit, this is one of those self-help guru type things, but you know, whatever. I have done a review of one of a watch whatever of one of his videos before, because he was going around talking to black millionaires. But I don't think he did anything like, oh, by the way, I have this self-help book. I don't remember him doing that in that video. But let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know what you guys think about this whole idea of being programmed to be poor from a young age, from within the first 7 years of your life. What do you think about it? Do you think, you know, do you agree with some of the things he said, or disagree, or do you not see it? Like, let me know. What's good? What's good? Let me know. And that's the end of this video. This end of this reaction. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can check out Jordan Welch. I promise. Let me not promise, but I'm pretty sure not all of his videos are going to try to sell you a self-help course. He does have some pretty interesting things on there, so be sure to check him out. Link to his channel, link to his video will both be in the description below. So yeah, while you're there visiting Jordan Welch, don't forget to do those 3 things that I like to ask you to do, and like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. And you know what it is after that. Here's the outro that I mentioned before. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Peace. Much love to you.